At 79 years old, Hayley Mills is finally saying what she was never allowed to say as a child. For over 6 decades, Hollywood protected a comforting image, a beloved on-screen father, a Disney legend, a symbol of safety. But behind that image was a truth no one wanted to confront. Until now. Hayley Mills grew up surrounded by fame, discipline, and silence. Born into a respected theatrical family, she was taught early that professionalism meant control. Control over emotions, memories, and pain. By the time she became America's sweetheart in Disney classics like Pollyanna and The Parent Trap, she was still just a child carrying adult expectations. One of the most influential figures in her young career was Brian Keith. To millions of Americans, he was the ideal father. Calm, strong, dependable. On set, he played the role perfectly. And in many ways, he truly tried to protect Hayley. He ensured she wasn't overworked and that she was treated fairly in an industry known for exploiting young performers. But decades later, Hayley Mills admits that something always felt off. Behind Brian Keith's reassuring presence was a man burdened by emotional weight he never spoke about. Like many men of his generation, he was raised to suppress vulnerability. Strength meant silence. Pain was something to be endured alone. As a teenager, Hayley sensed those mood shifts. The heaviness. The unspoken tension. But in old Hollywood, children weren't encouraged to ask questions, especially when the adults were famous. Hollywood in the 1960s wasn't designed for emotional honesty. It rewarded productivity, not healing. And Brian Keith, for all his talent and kindness, was trapped inside that system. When news broke of Keith's tragic death in 1997, Hayley wasn't shocked. She was heartbroken, and finally understanding. The pieces fell into place. The sadness she had felt as a child suddenly had meaning. Now, at 79, Hayley Mills speaks without anger or accusation. She refuses to rewrite Brian Keith as a villain, but she also won't preserve a comforting lie. He was a gifted man who needed help, and never received it. Her words aren't meant to tear down old Hollywood, but to expose its cost. The polished smiles. The perfect families. The emotional damage hidden behind studio walls. The truth isn't cruel, Hayley says. Silence is. By finally speaking, she isn't destroying a legacy. She's restoring humanity to it. And in doing so, she reminds us that many of Hollywood's brightest icons paid a quiet price for the illusions we loved. If you appreciate honest stories from Hollywood's golden era, the truth behind the legends, consider subscribing to Old Hollywood Feuds. Because remembering the past honestly matters.